Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability Time, episode 6. With us, we have a repeat guest, special guest, excuse me.
Ooh.
Um, yes, per popular demand. Um, Today, we'll be talking about being either too much or not good enough. What is healing and is letting go possible? But before we get into that, let us say hello to our honored special guest, Julie. Julie,
Hello,
how's it
hello,
feel to be
hello.
back?
Hello, hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me back again. It's crazy. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like we're doing this again. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Yes, Julie. So give what's happening now? What's happening in life? You're still going to therapy. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
I'm always advocating for therapy.
always.
It was interesting when you sent me the topic list again. So a little context, right? The last time I was talking about my person that I was with, she and I had actually got back together, and we're kind of on and off a couple times in the last like 6 to 7 months ish, right? Um, and some things I learned in that relationship. We broke up for the last time, right? And some things that like really stood out to me in this breakup was understanding where I place myself in relationships, right? And I don't know if a lot of people can relate, but something that I learned from my therapist and it really struck with me was putting your value in another person. And what I mean by that is like I told my therapist kind of what I was going through. And I was saying, things like, I just can't believe that, like, this is how, at the end of it all, after all I tried to do in this relationship, after all the things that I'd done for this person, all the things that so on and so forth, I can't believe this is how they see me. And she goes, well, you put a lot of your value in other people. Um, and she's like, do you think that performative actions is the only thing that makes you good enough in a relationship? And I was like, wow. She's like, do you think it's because of how you grew up? You grew up with performative actions and things like that. And I go, yeah, maybe. Um, and it was really interesting because, man, like, I think, I'm sure everyone's had that heartbreak, right? It still kind of hurts a little bit, but everyone's had that heartbreak where it destroys them. Right. And for a little while, it did destroy me, right? It hurt.
Right,
And, um, but it taught me a lot about not only myself but other people,
right.
right? um and understand that other people's, this is like a side message, right? This, like, other people's trauma, or your trauma, really your trauma. um yes, it may not have been caused by, like, you weren't the one that did it, right? Sometimes it can be, like, it can be your own consequences to your own actions, but your partner is not responsible for healing your trauma, right? Um, yeah,
Oof.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Ooh, truth bomb right there.
yeah. Your partner is responsible for being supportive and being with you. And for a little while, I thought I was right. I thought I was being supportive and her healing her trauma, right? I thought I was supportive. I thought, yes, I make mistakes. Your partners make mistakes, right? I said hurtful things, or I said things that hurt her feelings, right? I took accountability, or I tried to take accountability, understood that what I said was wrong, understood that my actions were not right, but my intentions were still in the right place. And I said, okay, I'm going to readjust the way I take action, right? I readjust the way I go about this relationship, you know. And I noticed that this person just wasn't receptive to my changes, right? She told me, I see you changing. I see you've made changes. I see you've done this. I'm not going to discredit you 100%. I just don't feel like you understand my trauma. And I go, I understand your trauma. I'm trying to be supportive of your trauma. But you, as an individual, have to take your initiative to heal. And understanding where you are in the healing process, um, like, can affect your relationships.
Right.
And it
Interesting.
it did mess me up a little bit, if I'm being honest, because it made me feel like, wow, like all the efforts I, yeah, like, because whenever she told me that, it translated to me like, oh, like I see the changes you made, I've seen the efforts you're putting in, but it's not good enough.
Mm. You,
Um, yeah.
whoa, that first off, thank you so much for sharing. Julie, you always come through with the wisdom. You said
Honestly, thank
understanding.
my therapist. She's teaching me a lot. It's crazy how much
We
she's taught me.
love a good therapist. Love it.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
correct me if I'm saying this wrong.
Mhm.
But I want to go back to what you had just recently said a couple of milliseconds ago. Um, is that um, understanding? Before I say, I suck at remembering words sometimes, but I remember how I
It's
felt,
okay.
and it
Right.
impacted me. So please correct me. You said
Hmm.
understanding where you are in your healing journey is important, you know, in a relationship. Is that what
Absolutely.
is that
Absolutely. Yeah.
wow.
Absolutely. And the main reason why I said that is because, like I had mentioned, me and this person we're going on and off, right? Broke
Mhm.
up, got back together, broke up, got back together, right? I'm sure anyone that's listening has probably dealt with something like that, right? Where
Mhm.
you feel like you're good, but then you're not good. You're not healed. You're still having the same problems, and you break up again.
Mhm.
Then you get back together because you miss this person, right? And
Yeah.
it sucks
Yeah.
because I genuinely thought that this person was the one, and who knows? I mean, I can't tell the future, right? I
Right.
don't hate this person whatsoever. Although I may be upset at them or whatever the case, I don't hate them, right? I still love this person. I still have care for this person. But whenever we had got back together, or correct me, I'm gonna correct myself. When we had broke up this last time,
Uh-huh.
I I had told her, I said, if you knew you weren't ready, right, mentally, then why did you ask to get back together with me in the first place?
Right.
Right. Just the last time that we had got back together and this last time we broke up, right? I was like, if you knew you weren't mentally ready, or if you weren't in a healthy mindset, why did you ask to get back together with me? And her response was, I thought I was healed. I thought I
Um,
was ready. I thought I was ready. I thought I was healed. And I go, well, unfortunately, you thought wrong. um,
mhm.
and in doing so, you mentally cut yourself, right? You cut yourself mentally, um, and to a certain extent, well, anyways,
That's
yeah, you
that's
cut yourself mentally, and you ended
yeah.
up bleeding all over me,
Mhm. Mhm.
metaphorically, right? And
Right. Right.
I think she understood what I meant. She just, hey, I'm sorry, and I go, sorry can only go so far. I think after a certain point, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it really hurt because I just go, like I almost felt um, like you asked to get back together with me because you didn't want me out of your life,
Right. Right.
right? And I don't know what her intentions were. I mean, I may never know, but
Right.
I just said, is it because you didn't want me out of your life? Is that why you weren't ready to heal? At least this is what my therapist says. And
Mhm.
my wax lady is also my second therapist. Love her.
Love it.
She's just like, maybe it seems like she's not ready to heal, and that's what it seems like to me. So maybe you're not ready to heal
Mhm.
um, from the traumas that you grew up with. Because yes, the words that I told her 6 months ago, yes, were hurtful. I understand that I hurt her feelings, right? Yeah, but another lesson I learned from my therapist is you're gonna hurt your partner's feelings.
Mhm. It's
You're gonna
inevitable.
hurt everyone's feelings, whether it's your
Right.
partner. Inevitable. You're gonna hurt people's feelings. It's always
Mhm.
gonna happen. What you do or what you choose to do in order to forgive them is up to you, right? And then this person did tell me that they forgave me, but they never really did, right? They still brought it up,
Mhm.
in future, or in there's a word for this, not future, but like preceding arguments that we would have while we were together. She would always bring it up, tell me her fear, right? And told me that I was essentially forcing her to heal from the words that I said. And I go, I'm not necessarily forcing you. You heal at your own pace. Everyone heals at their own pace. That's
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
However, hovering it over your partner over and over and over again, that's not healing.
Mhm.
That's resentment, I feel like.
Hmm.
right? Um,
Interesting.
at least that's how I
That's
feel. Um,
interesting. I mean, because that is very interesting. I mean, I was literally just saying the other day to myself, and I saw a post on Instagram. Love it. I love my
mhm.
Instagram algorithm. It's filled with majority of like wisdom or just inspirational things, a
Yes,
little
that's
bit
my
of funny
Twitter.
things, right? Yeah, and it was saying it was a lady. She was like dancing to a song or something like that. But anyways, the whole
Mhm,
point of the song was it was basic, and she had like captions as well.
mhm.
And it was basically being like, when you thought you healed, oh, here comes, you know, um, losing yourself because you're no longer your trauma identity, and you're healed from your trauma identity, and now you
Yes,
don't recognize yourself. You know,
yes,
I am in
yes.
that position right now. You know, this whole semester, I've realized maybe about 7, 8 months ago that I don't know who I am anymore. Because who I knew was just a bunch of trauma identity. But as I've been healing, you know, I'm at a loss, and I'm having to start back from square one because,
Right,
I have been healing from trauma identity, which has been such my norm. It is,
right,
yeah, it's like now my nervous system is at the point where it's really trying, and we're really trying to, you know, not be at fight or flight or freeze. We're
right.
learning to be just relaxed, but that's extremely hard. It's literally extremely hard for me to relax. Like I just got back from my school on campus
Mhm.
has and many people don't know about this. That's why I love it. It's like all to myself pretty much. But
Right.
they have a really nice massage chairs. I mean, it does the
Oh wow.
works. Oh,
Oh
it does the
wow.
works. I'm like,
Go University.
Ball State. Yes, go you. Yes. I'm
Yes.
like, what? Bougie. So, you know, I just got off of it, which is why I thought I was going to be a couple minutes late to this. So, Julie, it's okay.
Hey, there
Um,
we go.
cuz
It
I
works
got
out.
yeah, but I could not relax. Like I don't think I've ever been able to relax, like genuinely
Right.
relax in my life, literally, because like my body is, and it's so normal, and it's just like what I think is relaxing, it's not really relaxing. And so I was just interesting that statement, of I thought I was healed,
Mhm.
or
Absolutely.
to me, what that means to me, for me personally, because I
Mhm.
say that thinking, um, oh, I thought I wasn't going to heal again. And then someone told me that healing, a lot of the times, healing isn't a point, it's a progress.
Right.
Um, yeah. And for me, I would just be like, wow, I thought I was healed from this, you know.
Mhm.
And then also, I noticed that I heal in layers.
Right.
I
Absolutely. I think.
hate that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Because you'll the way my therapist explained it as was funny. It was actually a really emotional session because I had
yeah.
I went to the session thinking I was fine and I was gonna be able to emote and like talk about it without
Oh, yeah.
crying.
Emote. Yeah.
And it actually ended up being, like I said, the most emotional session I think I've ever had with her, where I think for a good 5 minutes or so, I think I sat in silence and just cried, right? Because I was
Yeah.
talking about it and it just like struck a chord.
Yeah.
As soon as I started, the words were coming out of my mouth, like tears just starting coming out, and I go, "Shit! Like, I'm sorry. Like, I thought I was like healing. I thought it was okay to talk about this now." And she goes, "Number one, don't be sorry for letting out your emotions. Never be sorry, right?" That's something I'm still struggling to learn is not to be sorry for expressing my emotions, right? Because that's something I struggle with.
Yeah.
And number two, she's like,
Same.
healing, just like how you said, is in layers, right? Like
Hmm.
you're gonna heal parts of you, right? Something's gonna trigger it, right?
Hmm.
Trigger something in you, and then you're gonna take a couple steps back, but that's okay. You're gonna retake those steps forward, and it's just gonna it's consistent process. As long as you're
Right.
putting in the work to be consistent with it and to always,
Right.
not always, but like just you're trying. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. You know, that's one of the things that I do love about um myself and my healing journey is I literally don't know how to quit. I just I've just been, it's
Yeah.
so normalized. I don't know how to be otherwise, but to heal,
Right.
but to, grow. Even when
Right.
I want to quit and I say I quit, I literally don't know how to quit. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, I can't let this stay. This is not fair to me.
Some sometimes
You
I stop myself and like I'm like, is this a trauma response? Is this a trauma
right?
response? Is me
And
not stopping? Is this a trauma
yeah.
response?
Do you want to know something really
um,
interesting though that I also have been noticing? So, oh, sorry, there's a piece of dust in front of me. We love
not the
that. Just
dust, not the dust bunnies.
try to catch it, but it's okay. But yeah, is I was told for so long that I'm older than my age, that I'm more wise than my years. And that's
Yes,
because, of the trauma that I've
same.
been through. And I never, right? And I can
Yes.
definitely tell. I can definitely tell. But the trauma in my life, like I literally never got to be a child. I had to be an adult from the age of 7. And even before
Right.
then, it wasn't a childhood. It was something, but
You just lived it.
yeah, I was just surviving. And then at the age of 7, I had to grow up. Like, it's not like there weren't things before then. There were things before then that
Hmm.
made me, grow up. But it wasn't till like the age of 7 where I just, now that I look back, I'm like, it seemed to be at the age of 7 when I really lost the little bit of sense of child wonder that I had, and
Right.
so for so many years, people would applaud and say, "You're so wise, you're this, you're that," and for a while, I'm like, thank you,
Right.
however, in my healing journey, I've also started to notice, I never got to be a child. Um,
Right.
and so now that like I am in a different spot in my healing journey, excuse me, at a different progress in my healing journey, um, I'm noticing I'm being more childlike and I'm not
Right.
seeing the adultish Trenton in my excuse me, my new legal name is Josias. The
Yes,
adultish,
Josias.
yes, the adultish Josias that everyone applauded, when
Right.
I was in
Absolutely.
college. Yeah, well, in my undergrad and like in high
Right. Right.
school at times. Yeah, and so um like obviously there's a time and a place. However, I kind of been down on myself because I'm like, I'm not hearing
Am I?
those compliments anymore. I'm not hearing that, oh, you're so wise beyond your years. I'm not hearing that anymore. And, it's a good thing in a way because it's like I can still be, professional and adult time and place. But the thing
Absolutely.
was, me being an adult and a quote unquote professional, just mature acting was
Right.
always time and place. I didn't know how else to be, and so now
Right.
my body is allowing me to, you know, taste some childhood wonder. Um,
Right.
yeah, so it's
That's
like
great. That's awesome.
it
That's
is.
actually really awesome.
It's something that I prayed for, but of course, like I wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting, it to bring a little bit of hurt, but I knew it was. I just didn't think this would bring some like type of hurt. Um,
Right.
so yeah, and it's
Wh- wh-
yeah.
when you're changing like your foundations, just like how you said mentioned before, like changing your foundations on what you knew and what
Hmm.
you always knew, it's gonna cause shock,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I said, my therapist, even though I love her, she's fantastic. She said some things that like made me think, wow, like, oh shit. Like she calls me out in a sense, right?
Yeah, yeah, held
Like
accountable.
she called, yeah, holds me accountable, right?
That's a good
Um,
therapist.
kind of like I said, the whole holding my value in other people. She
Mm-hmm.
goes, you tend to hold your value in other people, and or like give your value through other people's hands. You
Mm-hmm.
see your worth when someone else sees your worth, right? And
Ooh,
when she said that,
damn.
my God, I wow. Especially since
Whoa.
like I'm slowly discovering I may have been like I'm gonna say maybe because I can't she can't diagnose someone that she's not with, right?
Right.
But I'm slowly discovering that was maybe in a relationship with a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she described it is she's like, that's a narcissist feeding ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
someone that finds their value in other people, a narcissist feeds off of that, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
then a narcissist will see that person and say, oh, you see your worth through my eyes. Okay.
Wow.
So I'm gonna make you feel valued whenever I need you to feel valued. Then when you're not giving me my needs and my wants, I'm going to retract that value and make you feel unworthy, right?
Mm.
And I don't want to talk horribly on the person. Like I said, I still hold love for this person, right? But
Right, right. And it doesn't seem like
recognizing,
there's hate. You don't seem like you're having any hate towards this person. I just went from the outside. It doesn't seem
yeah,
like you're having any. And also, this
I
is vulnerability
yeah,
time.
yeah.
You do you. This is
Thank
our
you.
healing, your healing, and yeah.
Yeah, and it was hard realizing that, right? And like I didn't want to think that of that person, but my
Yeah.
therapist is like, you gotta recognize it how it is, and
Hmm.
and she's like, again, I can't diagnose someone that I'm not, that's not my patient. However, there are those tendencies, right, where like um the way she described it was, for example, I hurt that my partner's feelings, right? When I triggered her trauma, right, and tried to be, I guess, healthy, right? And showing that, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to take accountability. I don't hide away from the fact that I hurt someone's feelings, right? But I will try to make that change, right?
Hmm.
When they saw that I was starting to get my voice back, I guess, because just
Mm.
because I hurt someone's feelings doesn't mean I'm not allowed to express my emotions, my needs,
Right,
and my wants. That's
right.
essentially why we broke up this last time in the first place, because I saw that my needs and wants were not being met, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going to just be blunt, right? The way it was translated is the way she told me, I'm dealing with a lot right now. Whenever you were dealing with your lows, whenever you were in school and work, I didn't bother you with relationship problems, right? And I go, okay, number one, that translates to me that my needs and my wants, expressing it to you is a bother to you. It's a burden,
Hmm.
right? Even though
Hmm.
I know you're going through something right now, that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have my needs and my wants,
Right,
right?
right.
Number one. Number two, you chose to do that, right? You chose to hold in that resentment and not speak upon yourself, right? You chose
Mm.
to hold it in, and then you eventually ended up resenting me, and we broke up
Mm.
the first time,
Yeah.
right? So now that I'm trying to get my voice back, the way my therapist described it is, you're getting your voice back. A narcissist doesn't like that, right? What they do is they have this magical wand, this imaginary wand, right? They have this magical wand, they're waving it, right? And they try to deflect, right? Which is unfortunately something that, she would do sometimes, is deflect, make me feel bad, right? Make me feel
Yeah.
bad that I'm hurting her feelings, right? And so then I would get, oh my God, you know what? Okay, basically my mind, what my mind would subconsciously do is like, oh my God, you're hurting this person's feelings. Shut up. Shut up. Shut
Hmm.
up. Shut up.
Hmm.
You're hurting their feelings. Stop it. Shove whatever you're about to say down your throat. Shut up. Make them feel better. Right? Because then
Right.
once you make them feel better, they give you love again.
Hmm.
They're all
Oh
coddly and loving.
my potatoes, onions, and a broccoli.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
all of it.
Yes. Yes. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God. Like, and that was actually the same session that I kind of sat silent and I got quiet, right? Um, she goes, when you got your voice back, right? They saw that you were getting your voice back and they saw that the magic tricks weren't
Mm.
working anymore. So they retract love from you. Once they start retracting that love, you go, oh my God, I'm losing them. Let me get them back. How do I get them back? I coddle them, or I shower them with affection. I shove away my thoughts, my needs, and my wants, right?
Right.
And I shower her with love and affection, and just and in hopes that, or at least in her mind, maybe in hopes that my needs and wants, that my concerns don't come up again, right?
Right.
Once she saw that I was like, no, okay, we're gonna keep coming back to this conversation. I know that I hurt your feelings, I'm making you cry. Let me calm you down. Let's calm
Mm-hmm.
down. I gave her a hug, held her, calmed her down.
Mm-hmm.
Moment of silence, right? And I was like, okay, let's get back to the conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after I said, let's get back to this conversation, she goes, see, here you go again. You're making me upset. Yada yada. I can't remember exactly what she said, but um, she's basically like, see, here you go again, hurting my feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially. And I just go, whoa, 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 whoa. We're trying to have a healthy conversation here. Just because I calmed you down and you're not crying anymore doesn't mean we don't get to talk about this
Mm-hmm.
topic, right?
Right, right.
And my therapist goes, again, that's a typical narcissistic. She's like, look up covert narcissism,
Oh, let me do that
right?
right now.
Um, covert narcissism. So while you're doing that, a narcissist, textbook or a typical narcissist that most people think of is someone who's very self-centered, extrovertedly self-centered, right? Someone that's
Uh-huh.
like, oh my god, look at me, look at how great I did at this. Look at this, I got straight A's. Look at me, I got the promotion. Everyone worship me, right? That's kind of like typically what people think of. I can see the face that you're making right now. A covert narcissist is someone who's very introverted, who tends to, I'm just going to be blunt with it, tends to play the victim and use sob stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
saying that my ex-partner didn't have struggles.
Right.
Never said that. I completely empathized. I always
Right.
empathized. She went through
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, right? Without revealing too much about her personal information, went through stuff with family, went through stuff with life, went through stuff with, um, with work, went through a lot of mental things. I get it, right? Totally get it. However, there has to be some form of accountability, right? In everything that you do. And my manager, who I love him to death, he's one of my closest friends, right? He's very, very blunt. And in some ways, this can be taken very harshly, but if you kind of twist it in a way, it's kind of true. He goes, everything is your fault,
Mm-hmm.
and not in like a you're always to blame for everything that goes wrong in life. However, I think what he means is that it's like, you choose to react, right? Whatever happens to you in life, it's your reaction that makes a difference in your mental health. Yes, there are external things, right? It's not as black and white like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are external things that make a difference in your life, yada yada. But at the end of
Correct.
the day, like, you know, if you are late all the time, right? If you are yeah, if you're late all the time and you get in trouble for it, right? And you don't really try to make the necessary change to change your tardiness, is that really your school's fault for giving you a right for giving you
Right.
detention? You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And like
Gotcha.
again, and like I said, things are not as black and white like that. External things make a difference. Mental health, life
Right.
things, all
I'm
those things
glad
make
that
a
you mentioned
difference,
that.
right? All those things do
Yeah.
make a difference, absolutely. But there also still has to be some level of accountability, and
Mm-hmm.
that includes with relationships, right? And like holding yourself accountable to your partner, it not only is healthy, but it's healthy not just for you, but it's just healthy for the relationship, right?
Right.
Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and so when I was talking to my therapist about this covert narcissism, and she goes, narcissists have the hardest time taking accountability because they don't want to be wrong. I mean,
Right.
nobody wants to be wrong, right? But a narcissist's worst enemy is being wrong because to them, like them being right or just not wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they feed off of. And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the thing,
yeah,
and I've talked about this with my counselor before about my parents um, being possible narcissists, not saying that, they were diagnosed.
right,
They
right,
didn't they didn't want to get they didn't want to face that reality. If it was true, they
right,
didn't want to face it. But they have all the qualities and everything that I've been
right.
researching. That's why, like, when I was researching covert narcissists, that's why my mouth dropped, because I'm like, that is so my mother, and
Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, now, and I like how you're going about your situation. You're being very mature with it while also being very vulnerable, and your words, Julie, is helping others because there's someone listening who's going through this. Okay, and
right.
they just need a sign or need that extra push for them to be like, you know what, I'm gonna reclaim my voice, I'm gonna set my boundaries, because it's hard. Like, with someone
Yes,
who
yes,
either is a narcissist or is showing narcissist, tendencies, um, regardless, you know what I mean? Boundaries aren't respected, and that'll light the narcissist on fire, or the person showing narcissist tendencies. Noticing I'm trying to discern, since I want to completely just diagnose well, as an MSW student, I'm actually able
hmm
to diagnose, fun fact. But
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
gotta
I did not know that.
yeah, but I can't just be throwing it out there. So
Yeah, no,
that's
for
why I'm
sure.
saying, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Narcissist tendencies. Um,
Right.
well, that's actually in the state of Indiana, from what I know, that MSW students are allowed to um,
Diagnosed.
diagnose. But I don't know if that's
Oh,
outside
okay.
of the state of Indiana. But currently, I'm in
I see.
Indiana,
I see.
folks. Woo! Grad school. But
Yes.
yeah, and no matter like no, oh, I'm getting emotional. Like
It's making
my
you think, isn't it?
Yeah, look, because it's like nothing that I'm thinking now is new. It's just, every now and then, I look back, and it's just sad that that even happened, because what they don't realize is how much they are harming the other individual. Um,
Right.
I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times recently that I have felt horrible because I stated my boundaries, stated my truth in my voice. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not attacking you if I say that, hey, my brother said this and did this to me, and you allowed it to
Right.
happen. You allowed it to happen. My
Right.
father did this to me. You allowed it to happen.
Right.
I just stated that truth, and my mother is like, nope, that never happened. I didn't recall, or you're crazy, you're
Yeah.
disrespectful. Oh, if you were a Christian, you wouldn't think like that, and it
Oh.
was
Oh.
always deflecting. It was never
Right.
accountability, and I was always the made out to be the bad person for
Right.
having a voice. So I learned to be quiet until like
Yeah. It's invalidating almost
three
too.
yeah, till
Or
like
actually, no,
3
not
years
almost. It
ago.
is. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
I knew now I already cut my father off. I had to. Um
Right.
but my mother, I kept giving her chances. My father, I gave him a lot of chances as well, but it's like I'm literally the only one giving chances. I'm the child having to once again play the role of an adult. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm always pursuing them.
Yes.
Right. Like while they can just do whatever they want. And I love it when people say, and I mean this sarcastically, well, that's your father, that's still your mother. That's the problem. That is my father
Yes.
and mother, but they're not being
Yeah.
dad and they're not being mom. They are just
Nope.
being associated with DNA. They're not
Right.
being associated with anything other, and it invalidates, my experiences. But anyways, um,
Right.
it was September, excuse me, August of this year, so August 2022, when I officially cut loose my mother, okay? We had a conversation, and she, of course, deflected, victim
Well, of course.
blamed.
Right.
Crazy, said, "Well, I don't remember this." And then like 2 minutes
That's
later,
that's the
she's all
famous
like,
line. I don't remember.
"Yeah, exactly." And I remember I will get into it in a different episode, Julie. We should have a different
Right.
episode for sure, because we gotta, yeah, girl, we got some stuff to
Oh yeah,
talk
I'm
about.
down. Let's do it.
Yes. But anyways, um my
Oh
mother,
yes.
at the end of that conversation, after all that I told her, once again, I resurfaced my trauma just to bring it up to validate so hard myself. Like, I just feel like as a child, saying certain things happened to me, and that, you saw it happen and you chose not to do anything about it. You know what I mean? I don't, it's because when she says, "Oh, I don't remember this, and that," you know, and I say, you were there. You saw this. You're
Yes.
telling me I'm crazy. You saw this. And you think that's not going to affect me, that you didn't do anything about it?
Right.
You allowed this to happen. I'm not blaming you, or I'm not holding you accountable for what you didn't see, but for the stuff that you did see, and you say that that never happened, or that just, oh, you don't remember it, but
Right.
you do remember to deflect. You do have a
Oh
good,
yes.
yeah. And I was like, oh, well, okay, so what is it now? But anyways, after I mean, I had to bring up almost all of my trauma to try to validate myself, because she pulled out that word, you're
It
crazy.
it's crazy because to a certain extent, my therapist had mentioned, she goes, if you feel like you have to metaphorically slash maybe literally record a conversation between somebody just
mm,
so that you have proof of what the things that they've said and whatnot,
mm,
then you're probably dealing with someone who likes to deflect. And
hardcore. And
yes,
me holding her
and don't get me
accountable.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I have my memory issues sometimes. Okay, I have the memory of a goldfish sometimes, and there are
Hmm.
things I don't remember. But I'm not going to sit here and invalidate you on what you're feeling. Oh shit! Like, okay, this
Right.
happened. My bad. I don't remember that happening, but I'm sure I hurt your feelings
Yeah. And this
in
is the
that
thing
moment.
with
Okay,
her.
I'm sorry.
That's the thing with
Yeah,
her. She never remembered. She quote unquote never remembered any of the bad things.
oh
Any
yeah,
of the
for
bad
sure.
things.
Only
Yeah.
only
Like,
remember the good things.
only the exactly. And so, you know, September 2022, I mean, not September. Why do I keep saying September? August 2022, you
Right.
know, the day before I moved out of state to grad school, you know, um, she said some things, um, and I'm not just painting her out to be the bad person. Folks
Right.
give my mother too much grace when I talk about her, because they're like, surely she can't be that bad. Surely someone can't be that bad. Yes.
Yeah,
I was
someone can
like,
be.
would you like
Yes.
to trade? I was like, oh yeah, it's that bad. Trust me, this is not an exaggeration. This is not a generalization. This is literally truth.
Right.
I wish I was exaggerating. I, I
Hmm.
literally wish I had the luxury of exaggeration. But
Yep.
I told her that what my father did to me, he molested me, um,
Oh wow.
my mental illness, but anyways, and she, you know what she ended the conversation with?
What?
I don't care. She said she does not care.
Wow.
Julie, the fact that it took, and it's
Wow.
like all of that healing that I've done for so many years, it's like for a good day, I was, because of those words that she said, that she doesn't care, those words she said, that she does not care. It's like my whole childhood was placed on me for like 24 hours. Like, I felt like
Wow.
I was a child again, had no voice, no control. It's like all of my healing went away. And
Right.
in the month of September, um, is when I had a suicide attempt,
Mm-hmm.
because of those words, I don't care. And I'm like, you know what? Then why the fuck should I care? And I can't even explain how the
Right.
weight of everything that I healed from just stayed on me heavy for 24 hours. And then, slowly I had to re-heal from all of that. I was
Right.
so
It's
upset
like
at myself.
you took 1,000 steps back almost.
Exactly. I was so upset at myself, Julie, because I was like, I'm so stupid for giving her many, many more chances. I knew I should have cut her off. I knew this, I knew that, and now look at me. Now I'm back at like square negative 12. And most
Right.
people don't know that I had a suicide attempt a couple months ago. And
Right.
that situation was the root of it. But also that attempt made me really, really just wake up and just be like, I will not allow that to happen again. I will not allow that to happen again.
Right.
And I'm sure people, I mean, because we're taught to just look at the reaction of something and just, well, like you're the bad person for how you reacted or this or that. I was like, you can't spell the word reaction without action. Let's also
Right.
acknowledge the action that led up to the
Action.
reaction, you know?
Absolutely. For
Yeah, and
sure.
so it's like I can really get into the conversation. I can't get into it all because honestly, it was so much. All I remember, like most of what I remember, is just the hurt that I was feeling. And it's like
Absolutely.
I was upset at myself because I'm like Julie, I'm like, I could have left that conversation, and though it still hurt like hell, I could have left before she even got the chance to say that she does not care.
Right.
And I mean,
I just want to say I am proud of you
thank you,
for
Queen.
still being here, for still
Oh,
being here and taking it like a champ. You know what I mean?
thank you.
It's obviously we're okay with moments of vulnerability and being quote unquote
Yes.
weak, right?
Yes.
But like you in this moment, you were strong. You were strong, and I recognize that valiant strength seriously. So like I'm
Thank
proud of you.
you. Thank you so much, Julie. And I know this might sound cliche, but I
We love
I
the cliches. It's okay.
we love it. I literally have to thank God for like being with me, and I hated God. Okay, especially during that time. So I'm not just saying this as a, oh, because, I'm a person of faith. No, no, I'm very honest with my faith. Like,
Right.
if I hate God, I will say, I fucking hate God. What the fuck is wrong with him? Like,
Right.
why the fuck
No,
would he
yeah.
allow, sometimes I was like,
I do the same thing. I'm not particularly religious, but I do the same thing with the universe. It's like, why the fuck? I'm agnostic, so I don't
yeah,
believe in one specific God. I believe in there's a
right,
higher
right.
power.
The
So I
higher
look at the
power.
universe
Yeah,
and I go, why the fuck? Like for a very hot mom, like I said this in
yeah.
therapy, and I went all out in therapy. Right?
Yes,
I looked at my therapist. And I told her I looked at the universe and I said, why the fuck would you give me this fucking beautiful person, seemingly beautiful on the outside, but fucking
right,
horrible on the inside. Why the
right.
fuck would you give me this person, right? Make me
Yeah,
fall in love with them, make me love them, make me care about them, put in all my effort, show them my love, show them this and that, just for it all to fucking like, why?
right,
Why? Just
right,
for it all to crumble and get shot back in my face, right?
right,
And she goes, if she's like, I know you're not particularly religious, but the universe sometimes does things for you,
yeah,
to show you something, a
right.
lesson, right? Show you some a strength that you never thought you had,
Right.
or show you something like that. You know what I
And
mean?
that's hard. That's a hard truth when
Yes.
we're not seeing that lesson just yet. Like I'm like,
Yes.
what is the payoff from this? Hmm?
Yeah, no,
Like
literally, I was like, why?
right.
Why? I could be happy right now. I could be happy right now. I could be happy
Right.
right
I'm
now.
like,
But,
what
like,
lesson did I need to learn? Did it really have to take all of this? Like, did it
yes.
and I'm like, it better not be something small either. I was like, it better be worth it. But yeah,
Yes.
no,
I'm like, did it have to take the weight loss, the me not eating, the depressive episodes, the fucking,
right.
like, me sleeping in all the time because I'm tired of the damn time, the, hey, are you
Yeah.
okay at work? Like, no,
Right.
I'm not okay, Susan. I'm not okay. But, like, I'm not okay, Susan.
Yeah,
I'm
Susan.
hanging on by a fucking thread. Okay. Like, oh
Not
God.
Susan.
Just
Not.
hoping that it's gonna pay off.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, that's funny. Yeah,
oh my
Susan. But
God.
no, it's true. Yeah, and this is what I love about what you just said there. Your honesty with your higher power, your higher being,
Right,
that is so important for us to be as honest as we can be, spiritually,
right,
because it's like, you know, it's there regardless. It's like it's inside our hearts. We've said it in our minds, we said it in our
right,
hearts. You know what I mean?
right,
Like us saying it out loud is not doing a dishonor or a disservice. In fact, it is a way that honesty is a way of respect and trust and getting closer to, that higher power, or to
right.
your just spirituality and to yourself, that honesty, you know, and so yeah, and that's my thing. Julie, I was like, God, look here. I was like, everyone that I look at that has horrible parents, they at least have one parent that is not. And I'm like, did you have to give me two? You could have done better. I was like,
you
you
could
had
you
to.
could have given me something.
Right, you could have given me something. I'm like, you didn't have to like, it was so consistent. And I'm just like, you didn't have to allow that to happen. I was like, there we go. I'm learning to use the word allow Because
Right.
I feel like my parents definitely they had the choice to be great, but they chose not to. They
Oh
chose
yeah.
to be great in other areas like finances and
Mm.
looks for others.
Yes.
Gotta
Appearances always matter, right?
yes, appearances.
Totally
Who has
sarcasm.
the nicer car? Who has the nicer
Yes.
house?
Who has
You
the
gotta
best job? You
yes.
know.
Don't keep up with the Joneses. Be better than the Joneses, because that's your worth. Ugh,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's fucking
Mm.
pissed me off. But yes, that's me and God's combos in a nutshell. 30% of the time, because it's part of my
Same with me in the
healing.
universe.
Yes, exactly. Like
Yep.
there's just no way, and as right now in my life, like you were saying as well, it's like we don't see the payoff right now. And that's the thing, right now better be right eventually because
Yeah.
right? Because I'm like, look,
This should need a change.
if in 20 years from now, I better be able to look back and see the payoff because if not, whenever I meet you, I'm going to be like, was that
Bruh.
necessary? And I was like,
Yes. Was this needed? Why?
right? Did you have fun with that? You know what I mean? Are you going to say it taught me something? Why couldn't I see that on Earth? Like, what?
Yes.
What? So,
Yes.
yeah, I love that are honest about, your spirituality, your connection with the universe, because it's that honesty, you know what I mean? We need to
Yeah.
purge that honesty out with ourselves, with, if we believe in a higher power, just that connection. Honesty is a huge part of connection and trust.
Right, absolutely.
Just
Not
doesn't
just
feel
within
good.
other people, but yourself too.
Yeah.
I've told people before, mainly my my past partner, like don't lie to yourself. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like just speak your truth. Like if this is how
Right.
you feel, just fucking say it. Like it's
Right.
hard. It's really hard not to feel like you're gonna be judged, right? Especially when you
Hmm.
come from a background, like, or family that people do judge, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
I was
hard.
yeah, I was from a
Yeah.
background that like I'm not saying my entire family is like
Well,
this, but I've
can
had
you
people that are
tell us what
judgmental.
your tell us describe your background for those of us, who don't really know, the listeners. Just
So
what do you mean by
I
background?
come from ethnically speaking, I'm Asian, I'm Vietnamese, and I'm also Mexican, right? And if anyone out there is listening, yeah, I'm sure y'all know that both ethnicities, or heritages can get a little
Yes.
judgmental. The
Hmm.
chismosas and like the Asian, like, oh, you have to be a doctor, you got to
Yeah.
be a lawyer,
Ooh.
this and that.
Yep.
Growing
I'm
up, I
yeah.
was always compared to, my younger cousin, because she wanted to be a doctor from the get go. She wanted to do something in medicine. I don't know about doctor, but like she wanted to do something in medicine from the get go,
Yeah.
right? I never was in that. I tried it. I tried medicine. Not no, just it wasn't for me, right?
Right.
I always, she was more extroverted and outgoing, and I was more introverted and a nerd. You know what I mean? She liked ballet and and sports or not really sports, but like she did ballet,
Yeah.
she did orchestra, she was great with the violin, this and that. I was an artist, which
Hmm.
I'm not sure if a lot of people resonate, but like artists, especially like in the early 2000s, like growing up, like artists, like why the fuck are you drawing these weird anime characters, cartoon characters,
Hmm.
really is what they were called, you know? Um, on my on my Spanish side, it's more just like, oh, like you're so quiet all the time, or you don't speak Spanish. I don't speak very much Spanish. My Spanish is very limited. I understand,
Same.
don't really speak it. And almost I want to say like 99% of the family that is on my Hispanic side speak Spanish, and only some of them only speak Spanish. So I can't really talk. I never really got to talk to many people growing up,
Right.
right? And they would always make fun of me, like, "Oh my God, look at you! Like, you don't speak Spanish. It's not. Why don't you learn how to speak Spanish?" And like,
Hmm.
I don't know if this is just a me thing. I'm sure other people are like this too. Actually, no, I know people are like this, but it's like the more you bug me
Hmm.
about something, the more it makes me not want to do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I want to learn Spanish, but just because you're making fun of me and not learning Spanish, that makes me
Yeah.
not want to learn it. It makes
Right.
me feel like shit. I feel judged because I don't speak Spanish. Yes, I'm Mexican. I don't speak Spanish.
Right.
Like,
I'm
I'm
Puerto Rican
sorry.
as well.
Yeah,
I'm black and Puerto Rican and I don't speak Spanish. And but I wish I
yeah.
could. But yeah, I see
Same.
what you mean.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
see
and
what
then
you
like,
mean.
all that stuff. Like, oh, you're so quiet all the time. You're never loud, this and that. And like, yeah, I was a quiet kid because
Yeah.
that's just kind of how I was raised, just to be the good, quiet
You
kid.
were quiet in
Don't
high
be
school.
bothersome. Yes, I was very quiet in high school. I'm a lot more extroverted now. Even my mom tells like even like everybody that knew me as a baby, right? She's like, I don't know what happened, but like she she talks now. She's not quiet no more. She talks now. You know,
Would you say
maybe
I was an extrovert in high school?
um from on the surface,
Yeah.
yes. On
Did
the
you would you
surface,
believe it now if
yes.
I told you I'm an introvert?
Really?
I'm so an introvert. I don't like people.
I still kind of, oh, neither do I. I still kind of am. I think my job helps me be more extroverted because
Yeah.
I'm a supervisor in the front where like I'm basically like a cashier supervisor, right? So like
Yeah.
I'm dealing with everybody up in the front,
Right, right.
where I work. So I'm used to talking to people
Yeah,
and
same.
like
Jobs have
being,
helped me continue the little bit of extrovertism that I had.
yes.
So, but yeah,
Yes,
1000%.
but when I'm with my friends and whatnot, yes, I'm talkative, right? Like my social
Right.
battery is okay. It's just when I'm
Right.
out and about with my friends, out in like public places,
Yeah.
like at bars or clubs or wherever we end
Sensory
up going, like I'm just,
overload.
yes,
Yeah.
huge sensory overload. Like yesterday was actually a great example. I was at work, right? But I'm over
Yeah.
here talking to one person while someone else, a customer, is trying to talk to me, and it's really loud in the store. There's kids crying, this and that,
Oh,
like
not the
huge
crying.
sensory overload. At one point, I was quiet, and like my employee was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine."
Mm.
Like it's a lot's going on right now. You know,
Yeah.
it's just but yeah, so like it's hard to speak truth when you grew up feeling judged all the time.
Yeah.
My I used to tell my partner, my ex partner, I used to think I would tell her this a lot because that's how she came from a similar background like that, right? Being judged
Right.
and basically being told to be quiet. You know, you speak your mind, you're a burden, right? You
Right.
don't do what
Yeah.
we say, you're a burden, and you're not worthy or whatnot. That's how she would feel, and I
Yeah.
try not to make her feel that way, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
inevitable. We're gonna hurt people's feelings, right? But it's I always advocated just speak your truth,
And that's the
especially when
thing,
you're in a
Joy.
relationship.
That's
Mhm.
what's really interesting that you said, about the judgment from speaking the truth. That's the thing I've noticed in my life is that, a lot of folks are, we were not given the grace to tell the truth. That's what you just stated. That's what I like what you just, I mean, it made me think
Yeah,
about, I recently learned this about myself. I'm like, certain things I can easily tell the truth. Like, are you
right.
depressed today? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You okay?
you
You okay
know,
today? No, I'm not okay today.
right? I'm not okay.
you know?
What? I'm not okay. But there are things where I struggle to tell the truth. Now, not always saying that I don't tell the truth. I'm just saying that it's hard. And not only does the truth hurt, but the truth is hard because, a lie feels better. A lie feels good because you're
Oh
not
yes.
ruffling feathers or, it's
Mm-hmm.
saving an image, and it's like, and I've also realized, like me, I lie about small things. Like I know it says like, oh, little white lies, but it's something that I've noticed and I'm tired of it. Um,
Yes. The
and
same
I
here for
also
myself.
noticed that, like, yeah, like I say white lies, um, most of the time it's because of anxiety. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if I don't speak fast, someone's gonna invalidate or not believe me because that's how I was raised. I was always raised like I
Have
have
an
to
answer.
speak exactly, and in order to protect myself from bad things that were happening, or just to not get beaten. I'm not talking about whooped or spanked, which actually research has shown that that does no help for a human
Oh yeah,
body.
definitely. It definitely no, it does
Yeah,
not help.
the body
All it
does
does is nothing
not.
but negative.
Exactly. The nervous system does not know the difference between physical abuse and getting a quote unquote spanking. It doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Literally, the mind doesn't know the difference between emotional pain and physical pain. So it's like our external, we might know, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a whooping, but that's not what the body knows. So any parents out there that are about to have kids and they're thinking about spanking, do your research, okay? That's all I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say. Do your research on how the body works. Beatings
Yes.
will be internalized. But I had to
Yes.
lie because not only was I getting whooped, I was getting like beat, like
Wow.
beat by my father because he's not dad, he's
Jeez.
father. Yeah, and
Yeah, no, he's yeah.
So that's the thing. So I'm realizing, I'm recognizing this in my life, and I'm trying to cut it down now. So like my goal, when I start therapy, different therapists again, because I like trying different things. When I
Right. Let's
start,
do it. Yes.
yeah, I'm thinking mid-January,
Okay.
when I come back from the Christmas break.
Ah.
Yeah, when I come back from the Christmas break, I'm going to work on, the little white lies because I'm afraid that they might turn into something bigger. Um,
Right.
and I'm also, learning now and understanding folks that do lie and are afraid to tell the truth, that maybe it's not always a narcissistic trait. Maybe, I mean, not saying that it isn't, but just maybe
Right.
I'm
Right.
not gonna internalize them. Oh, they're a narcissist or they're a bad person. Maybe they used to tell the truth, but always got shunned, beaten, judged for it. So it's like they don't want to feel that way anymore. So they lie because
It's a trauma response.
it's a trauma response. So that's
It's
something
funny. Me and my friend at work. Well, she's my friend outside of work. She's one of my close
we
friends.
love it.
We made it a joke, right? We every time something happens, we're like, yeah, I don't know where this came from. The other person will go, it's a trauma response.
Mm, but
Trauma response.
a lot of
Trauma
things
response.
are though, even the
Yeah. No.
smallest
Yes.
things. You know,
Yes. I.
have you ever seen like for me, something that's super small, like I cannot be in a dim lit room for more than
Mhm.
like 20 minutes. I will go
Really,
into an anxiety or a panic attack. And
really.
we discussed that in my counseling, and I do a lot of research, on mental illness. And so I can, learn myself more,
Hmm.
as well as going to therapy. But, you know, I knew from research and just how other things worked in my life and from counseling, and it all came together that something back then in my childhood would happen in lit rooms, some type of trauma.
Oh,
So, yeah, so much so.
wow.
Because this is the thing, the body, when I mean body, I mean the nervous system. Folks who don't
Hmm.
know, the nervous system and the subconscious have everlasting memory. It does not forget. We may forget, but it does not forget. Okay? The nervous
Wow.
system has no sense of time. It literally does not. So, as soon as we're born, we are constantly in survival mode until we're able to, learn trust. But people who had experienced a lot of trauma, you know,
Don't, that's still, but it's a little bit of a struggle.
yeah, survival mode
Learning that
cause
trust.
stays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like as a baby, we're internalizing, externalizing everything to better survive. You know,
I
so
didn't know that about the nervous system and the sense of time. I actually had no idea about that.
I just feel like, this is another thing that I tell God. I'm like, now, did you have to make the brain that damn powerful and the nervous system that damn powerful? Did you
That's
just have to do
crazy.
that?
Yeah.
I was like,
It's like we're capable of so many great things, and yet this is what we do with
yes,
our power,
that's what
quote unquote power.
exactly. So that's something that's really interesting is that, let's say if you look at the color green and it just makes you cringe, maybe that's not nothing. And I'm not saying that everything is necessarily a super traumatic trauma response. Um,
Right, right, of
but
course.
the definition of trauma has changed over the years as they learn more about it. Um, I learned now that, trauma is not just physical, sexual, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. It can be the quote unquote smallest things. You know what I mean? It
Right,
is a bodily response, it is a psychological response, to the point where it can cause a hindrance, you know,
right.
um, and that can be a quote unquote small hindrance or a quote unquote big hindrance. You know, if I'm always around, like, if I don't know, but basically, a lot of ways how we respond now in life, um,
Right,
that we aren't aware of, subconscious biases or things like that, it could be a product and a result of a survival mechanism because of
right.
the years in our life that we forgot or that we don't remember. But as soon as we are born, The nervous system and the brain remember everything.
You actually make a really good point because my therapist said something similar to this, where I had said something and then she kind of bounced off on it, where like trauma response, right, as a joke. But I
Yeah.
told her, I was like, there's some things that I forget, and I don't know if it's a trauma response that I like actually forgot, or if my mind or my subconscious just kind of shoves it and makes me forget it.
Yes. It's so
And she
powerful.
she's like, no, yeah, the brain will do that. If it's something that's traumatizing you, right, your nervous system or whatever, it's not gonna
Mhm.
actually it's not gonna you're not gonna it doesn't forget, but it'll make you forget it
Yes.
because you don't want to relive that trauma again,
You,
you know.
Julie, I'm going to
And I
fly black to Texas, buy
let's
a
go.
Versace shoe, and throw it at you for that wisdom. That was phenomenal. I'm
It
gonna
will
write
make you
that
forget.
down. It
Yeah,
doesn't forget, but
thank
it
you.
makes you. Let me write this down in my journal.
Yeah,
Like, look at
it does
this.
it because
Look
there's
at this. Look at this
oh,
journal. Isn't that
ooh, I
cute?
like that journal. Did you make that or did you buy that?
Oh,
That's cute.
I like to say that I make it, but no, I definitely bought this on Amazon. I, I have no choice but to
Nothing
support
wrong with
Jeff
it.
Bezos, it feels like. And that's
Nothing wrong with it. It's okay. We also come to capitalism.
we
I'm
shut.
just
Oh
kidding.
my God. No, but
JK,
it's
but like not
true.
really.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. We do, whether we know it or not.
I wish I could make I wish I could proudly make everything that I use, but I
I
can't.
know, right? Same. But yes,
But
I know, like, that's like really interesting what you said, Julie. Like, because I mean, that is true. And it's like learning my body and learning my brain and learning why I react to certain things a certain way. It has helped me be more graceful and loving towards myself because at the end of the day, the body is just trying its best to love you enough to help you live. But it
right.
doesn't always know how to do that. Sometimes it
Damn.
it drives us to a point of not wanting to
Damn,
live.
now you got me all emotional.
Well, it's I mean it's
Like,
true because
holy
it's
shit.
like the body can associate because of how we're taught about death. The body can associate death with peace. That's or our brain can associate death with peace. You know, and this is like crazy amazing research and it really made me sit and think that, taught about death as something like just like we don't see the person moving. You know what I
Right,
mean? That person's not crying, they're not happy, they're not. It's just some form of anything but hurt.
right,
That's what we're internalizing it as.
right.
So they were talking about that when it comes to like, suicide statistics and stuff like that, how that is a factor of the body's response to try to live. But that's the thing. The body doesn't always know how to do things the best, which is why we have to teach it. It's doing
Yeah,
the best that it can, which is why therapy, treatment, intervention, medication, it's important. You're not a bad person because someone's listening right now and was raised in stigma. You are not weak or a bad
no.
person for trying to love your body back enough to survive. Your body's just trying to signal cues. I need help. I love
Yeah.
you, but I need help. You
And
know,
recognizing that you need help or recognizing that
that is
is the
so
first step.
strong. Yeah,
The
exactly.
first step. Yeah.
And oh my gosh.
You all
Sorry.
right? Oh, you're good.
No, you're just coming with the wisdom. You're just coming
I
with the
will say
wisdom.
one thing that kind of going into like self-worth, right? That I've been learning and like recognizing and like learning to love yourself, right?
Yeah.
My therapist said something to me, and it was funny. I had said, okay, so I saw a tweet on Twitter. I honestly can't remember what it said, but my I responded to it, and it blew up overnight. I woke up to like over 4,000 people liking it, over 8 to 900 retweets, which in like a grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a whole lot, right? In
That's
comparison to like
huge.
big social media. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, like holy shit. That means that like that many people relate to what I said, right? And
Yes.
something my therapist had said was like you give so much of yourself to someone who can barely give you the bare minimum, right?
Oh,
Um, right.
preach.
And you know, you tolerate so much for, again, for someone who can barely give you the bare minimum, but you shouldn't have to work so hard to earn or fight for love. Love shouldn't be something that you like. Relationships you work on. Yes, you're
Yeah.
always working on that. But love does you do not have to work for, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Love shouldn't be earned. We're not deserving of love. We're worth love. Because love is like,
Yes.
worth. So deserving, another word for deserving can be earned. Like, you deserve this because you did this to get this. Worth
Mm-hmm.
is like, I see value in you. You don't have to do anything. I see value in you.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
about a $20 bill.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
we
$20 bill didn't have to work to be $20. It's
and
$20.
exactly. And
It's worth $20.
yup, we
Yeah.
it's just freely given, like, worth. It's just freely, and that's what I think, like, love is. Love should just love.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was it was crazy. Whenever I was just venting, at this point in therapy, right? I had in the session I had just vented to her about everything about the relationship, everything that I felt, right? And she said that, and she followed up with, after saying, worth or love shouldn't be something that's so difficult to fight for slash work for.
Right.
You don't have to earn love, right?
Right.
Um, she also said, meet meet people where they're at and
Yes.
not for their potential, right? And that's something that like I've been told before, right? And I kind of just
Yeah.
said, okay, like fuck it, whatever. Like when me and my ex partner were going through all of our issues, right?
Yeah.
Like I had people telling me in my ear, which was a little bit overwhelming, I will admit, right? But I see where they're coming from, the place that they're taking, right? When they were just telling me like, meet someone where they're at, not their potential. And I kept hearing it, and I was just like, okay, like, but what this? What if this? What if this? And like my therapist was like, see, that's the issue here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. You keep imposing that what if, what if,
Mm.
what if, what if, what if, but what if that what if never comes,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Recognize
Yes.
what if that what if never comes? What if that person magically says, because I would always say like, well, what if all of a sudden, I mean, I wouldn't say all of a sudden, but like, what if, all of her problems are just gone and like then she's able to love me or then
Mm.
she's able to give me the love that I deserve or that I need, right? What if she's able to actually give me the love that I ask for? What if she gives me the dates that I ask for? What if she gives me the
Oh.
travel buddy that I wanted in the future, right?
Right.
Someone that's willing to give me love. And she goes, number one, what if those what ifs never happen, right? Meet
Mm.
people where they're at, not their potential. But she's like, number two, why do you have to say what if to someone giving you love? Why do you have to say what if to someone giving you
Oh.
dates? Why do you have to say what if to someone
Mm.
giving you the affection that you ask for?
Wow.
Why do you have to say what if to something that you shouldn't for, why do you have to say what if to love that you shouldn't have to
Wow.
work for? And I
Wow.
said, yeah. And when she said, and she goes, Julie, if you are willing to, this was like a motivational part, right? After she gave me that whole breakdown, right? Because that was basically a whole call out for me, right? Why do I have, why she's, calling me out on the way I treat myself, right? And then she kind of ended it off with, at this point I was in tears, right? But when she said this, she goes, Julie, if this is how much love and affection you give to someone who can't give you the bare minimum, I can only imagine how much you give to someone who gives you the love that you deserve. And Josias, when I say I broke down and I was no better than a child crying,
Oh my
I
gosh.
I legit I legit had to hold myself. I was crying so much. I'm getting emotional right
Wow.
now just thinking about it. Like I was crying so much.
Wow. It's
I
done.
like yeah, I used up almost her whole damn tissue box trying to blow my nose, wipe my
Not the
face.
tissue.
I yeah. I was
Not the
like, I'm
whole
sorry.
box.
I'm all like, I'm sorry. I'm taking all your tissue. She's like, no, it's okay. Use whatever you gotta use. It's okay. And I was just like, wow. And it's like,
Wow.
again, like I'm not saying that my ex person was a bad person,
Right.
you know, and I 50-50 hate this statement, but I 50-50 like I can see the sentiment for the statement, right? You
Right.
ever heard of right person, wrong time, right?
I've heard that.
I I've heard it, and I at first, hopeless romantic in me. was like, oh my God, like that's beautiful. Like, like, yeah, what if that person is going through a lot? Because we all seen the movies, I'm sure, right? We've seen movies where like
Hmm.
couples or like relationships are like the right person, wrong time, right? And eventually they come together and they find love, this and that.
Right.
Adorable,
Fucking
hopeless
lying to
romantic, right?
us. Fucking
Yes,
lying.
fucking line. I just watched a show called First Love on Netflix. Great show. Made me cry like a little bitch though. It made me bawl because it made me so emotional because it was literally right person, wrong timing, right? And like I said, I 50-50 hate that statement because I try to remember what she says, right? Meet someone and where they're at,
Mm,
not their potential. And unfortunately, the person I dearly loved the most in my out of all my relationships, right? It She wasn't there.
right.
The person that I initially fell in love with, right? Unfortunately, I feel was a facade. Maybe, possibly. It was a facade to make me seem like
I
it was
feel
all
that.
put together. It was sugary and
Mm,
rainbows and love and honeymoons and I mean the honeymoon phased out right as a normal, but like it was a facade.
yeah.
And kind of go back to the narcissistic thing, I was love bombed, right? At least I feel like I was love bombed, or the way my therapist described it, it seems like I was love bombed, right? It
Yeah.
made it seem like everything was going to be fantastic. We talked about having a house together. We talked about what we wanted in our house. We talked
Hmm.
about weddings. We talked about wedding rings,
Yeah.
promise rings, engagement rings. We talked about all of that,
Right.
right? Just for it to all crumble down because I don't want to talk big on myself at all, but only one party decided, or one party
This is
wanted
vulnerability
to continue
time. Someone's
healing.
going to relate to
Yeah,
what you're saying. So go big on
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, like it crumbled down because one person didn't want to heal, if that makes sense. And
Right.
it sounds very harsh. It's like, oh, like you don't want to heal? That's hard.
Right. But it's like
It's
they got to
it
do their work too. I mean, they got to do the work too.
Right.
Someone doesn't,
Right.
yeah.
Holding accountability for your partner. So it's like I said, I've never, and for anyone listening, it's like go on your healing journey,
Yeah.
right? Take your healing journey as fast as you want to go or as slow as you go, whatever. You take your pace at whatever you feel is comfortable for you,
Yeah.
right? However, your healing journey is just that. It's
Right.
yours, right? I have learned myself, like in my healing journey, not to drag others along with it. And drag is a really harsh word to say, but for lack of a better
Hmm.
word, right? Um, I don't want to cut myself and bleed on others, if that makes sense. Lean on others
Oh,
for
yeah.
help, right? And that's kind of how I described my ex partner, where I told her I was like, you're cutting yourself up mentally, delaying your healing process, and in exchange, you're bleeding all over me and dragging me along with you in your despair
Hmm.
for you know and
Yeah.
it's unfair to others, right? Lean on others, ask for help, right? Put in that work, take accountability, and like forgive yourself. Seriously, like forgive yourself. Like it took all my therapist told me, she goes, the way you grew up, right? You were used to taking 50 shots of tequila,
Hmm.
30 100 shots of tequila, right? So in every single relationship, it seems like, because I told her all my different relationships that I've had and the dynamics that I've had, it seems like my relationship dynamic is tolerance. I tolerate a lot,
Mm.
right? She's like, you grew up taking 50 shots. So when your partner only gives you 12, you go, oh, 12 shots. Okay. I'm not drunk yet. I'm used to
Right.
taking 50. I
Mm.
can take it. Right. So just, I felt bad about myself, like allowing myself to be hurt this long and repeatedly with the same person. And she's like, this is just a lesson learned.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself. You know what I mean? And then it was hard, but yeah, hearing that one statement alone, like meet people where they're at and not where they can be or their
Wow.
potential, and you know,
This is amazing. This season is
it, yeah.
explosive. This is wisdom bombs.
I've
Julie,
had to learn so much in this last month, really, because that's how long it's been. It's
yeah,
been a really interesting month. I'm not gonna say hard because I mean it has been hard, but it's had ups and downs.
yeah. I'm so proud of you,
Difficult.
Julie. I see the strength. I really do. I see the strength. I see the growth. I really do. I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to go ahead and thank you, Julie,
Of
on
course,
behalf
thank
of
you.
the listeners of Vulnerability Time podcast and of your episode, Julie. This is your episode. Your
Thank you. I
episode.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we love it. But yes. Thank you so much, Julie. Seriously.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you. Thank you for having me again, and thank you for those that listened to the my other episode. Thank you. I
Yes. And
appreciate
if
it.
y'all want to go back, um, if y'all haven't got a chance to listen to Julie's episode in season one, it is navigating through therapy. Okay. We talk about a couple of other things, but that is on the title of the episode. So if y'all want to go back and look at season one of Navigating Therapy, you can hear more info and wisdom from Julie. With that being
Thank you so
said,
much.
I love y'all. I thank y'all so much. And Julie, you stay on when I exit, by the way.
Of course.
Okay. Yes. And I will see y'all for the next episode. We will be discussing freedom from the bondage of self.
Ooh,
That is gonna be.
that sounds like a
I'm
good
interested.
episode.
It sounds like a good episode. Oh yeah. But already y'all. I'll see y'all next episode.
Bye.
Hey there, if you liked this episode, go ahead and buy my book on Amazon. What the book is called, type it on Amazon. It is Spoken by Trenton Epizon. Epizon is spelled Epizon. I really would appreciate the support. Give it a review, give it a buy, give it a try, and I promise you, you will not be upset at it. It is a poetry book. It is a very easy, quick read, and it definitely will give you some healing and some insight and some wisdom on abuse, mental health, recovery, the tragedy to triumph. You will love it. Give it a buy, give it a try, and recommend the book and this episode with others. Go ahead and give this podcast a follow and share it with others. You could be the reason that someone is alive tomorrow because you decided to share this episode today. This podcast is about saving lives, healing ourselves and others, and encouraging others and ourselves as well. Thank y'all so much for the support. Love y'all. I life y'all. I will see y'all next episode. You are valuable. You are beautiful. You are still on this earth because you have the strength. Thank you. Bye, folks.